So, you went out and bought a $200 plus Android handheld with a super powerful chipset and air cooling. You're having fun with it, emulating all your favorite classic games from systems like the Wii and PS2. But one day you thought, I wonder how much better native Android games are. I bet the graphics are phenomenal. I mean, the Nintendo Switch has a mobile chipset from 2015 and it could run The Witcher 3, and apparently my SoC beats the Switches in benchmarks. We must have some PS4 quality games at least, right, from big AAA studios? Wait, why are there so many MMOs with anime art styles? Where are all the games from Western developers? Maybe GTA 5 is on here? Let me look. Wait, San Andreas? But that's a PS2 game. I can emulate that. Oh wait, there was Red Dead Redemption and San Andreas Remastered? Wait, I have to have a Netflix account? Maybe I'll just play one of those Korean MMOs then. I'm sure it'll look amazing and the controller support will be flawless. What the hell? Why can't I move him? Why does this look like a PS3 game? Alright, so today we're going to cover the topic of the hidden potential of Android gaming, and the opening explains a bit about why the potential is hidden. But we're going to go over it more in depth, exploring why Android gaming is so mediocre, why it's a far cry from the projections we once had over the platform in the past, with some even claiming it could overthrow Nintendo. So, why does the current state of the Play Store and gaming on Android suck? Let's start by looking at the Play Store itself. So when you first go into the Play Store, you're met with a variety of random games. Some may be what's popular now on the platform, some may be curated from your previous tastes if you have used the Play Store in the past. Honestly, if you're using the Play Store on a normal smartphone, you may not even have a problem. Perhaps most of the games here appeal to you and you can download any game here and have fun with it. But in this case, we're talking about the situation where you own one of the many Android handhelds that have come out over the past, like, what, 4 or 5 years? The Retroids, the Ambernicks, the AYNs. There's plenty of these devices out, and honestly, I don't think the Play Store platform comes anywhere close to capturing their full capabilities. And it's kind of the same if you're just using a smartphone with a wireless controller as well. And yeah, I'm about to go into detail about why all this is. The experience quickly becomes tedium because now you have to dumpster dive through a bunch of random games for ones with controller support, but here's where it becomes even more hilarious. Even when you find a game that has controller support, there is no guarantee that it will be complete controller support or good controller support for that matter. Take Call of Duty Mobile, for example. It's a major AAA title, and it does indeed have controller support, but it is so overly complicated getting it to work if it does work at all. I'm not sure if anything has changed, but back when I tried playing it on previous handhelds, the controller just wouldn't connect. The most consistent way to get it to work is with an Xbox or PlayStation controller over Bluetooth, but even then, it's not perfect. It almost feels like Activision doesn't want players with controllers playing the game. Like they even segregate players who are on touchscreen and controllers, which I can kind of get because people with controllers have advantage, but even still, that's kind of messed up. I mean, you shouldn't segregate players based off of their controller style. You should encourage people to get controllers and play with controllers like games are meant to be played. I think the greatest flaw in controller support on Android is inconsistency. When it comes to controlling a game, inconsistency causes frustration with the player. Controls are the thing that has to be 100% spot on, or else you can't play the game. And if you can't play the game, then you won't have a happy player base. Even when using an Android game as intended with the touchscreen, the same issue still arises. Touch controls are inaccurate and oftentimes feel cramped. It's also not very appealing having to look at your gameplay through a screen covered with fingerprints. Controls aren't the only problem with the Play Store. I think the biggest problem is hidden gems. There are a metric ton of hidden gems on the Play Store, and you will never know they exist unless you are accidentally stumbling upon them while searching for something else. One example I will give is a horror game called Forgotten Memories. With the title so bland, you probably think it's some 2D interactive story game, but it's actually it actually plays more like Silent Hill with graphics between PS3 and PS4. This is an impressive game with a good atmosphere. So where is it on the Play Store? You gotta try searching for Silent Hill, and then maybe you'll bump into it and realize it's a good game. Oh, are you a Dark Souls fan? I have the game just for you. Pascal's Wager. I can't speak on the overall quality of the game, but it looks beautiful and plays like Dark Souls 3. Where is it on the Play Store? Well, you have to Google search for this one. Look for Dark Souls like games for Android. Which leads me to another problem, and I'm not sure if I should blame the developers or Google. Why are there so many knockoffs? The Play Store feels like one of those skits where the guy walks into a Chinese store and they have nothing but knockoffs of other brands. You'd have to be a morbidly curious soul to want to download Mad Out 2 Grand Auto Racing, which is basically GTA 5 from Wish.com. But guess what? The Play Store recommends me that game. There are some games that just work, and you will find them in the premium section of the Play Store. These usually have high quality gameplay and controller support. But guess what? Most of these games are older than dirt. To sum up this section of my rant, I'll conclude by saying the Play Store on Android is a mess. There is no way for sure of knowing what games will be perfect for your device until you either do the research or trial and error it, which can be frustrating because file sizes on Android are reaching the 40 gigabyte mark on certain big titles, and there is only so much time in the day. In order for the Play Store to be more user friendly, there needs to be better curation. I think if the Play Store detects a controller, it should recommend games with controller support first and foremost, and maybe they can do this by requiring developers to categorize their games with this feature and categorize the type of controller support. If it's just emulated touchscreen buttons mapped to buttons, this should be frowned upon because oftentimes it is incomplete, requiring touch inputs. Perhaps call this half controller support. Now, to cover another reason why Android gaming is being held back, cash grabs. The Play Store is filled with cookie-cutter games designed to be thoughtless and convince you to pay money on microtransactions. And guess what? I don't even blame the developers because there are no incentives for dropping a high-budget console-like experience on the Play Store. If the audience is dumb enough to support an inferior experience for the sake of not being bored on a train ride, then it's on them and not the developers. This is a problem I can't see being fixed unless a conscious effort is made to improve the Android gaming as a platform first, and I will go into my idea on this later in the video. For now, I want to keep complaining. Another issue with Android gaming is that high-end does not exist. To Google and the developers who make games on the platform, all these new powerful handhelds are a niche, to be honest. They are a niche that could be so much more, but I don't think they will go beyond emulation and playing a few select Android games because the hardware manufacturers don't have the drive to make them become more than that. The AYN Thor can do full speed Nintendo Switch emulation, so one would imagine there is a metric ton of potential hidden within the handheld console. The problem is the base who buys these handhelds is too small, and the reasons behind this are what I've already mentioned. Inconsistent controller support, a flood of mediocre games, or the same MMO reskinned, while the titles that are actually good are hidden and obscure with no promise of major titles in the future. What we get is left at the whim of the developers. Take the recent Red Dead Redemption port or the San Andreas remaster port as an example. These releases are so random, but they are hidden behind a subscription, meaning you have to have Netflix to play them. And once they leave the platform, there's no guarantee you will ever play them again. But the even crazier thing is, the ports are actually decent. It leaves me wondering, and like, what else my device can do. But I'll probably never know because no one cares about trying for a niche device. So I think I have complained enough. Let's ask a new question now. How can we make Android compete and potentially overthrow a big company like Nintendo? The answer is actually really easy, but would require a lot of money and a lot of effort. First, we need an American company, preferably, to make one of these Android handhelds. Like, the Chinese market is just too random and it's too flooded. But yeah, instead of all of these thousands of devices, we need like one or maybe three just to cover different form factors. The chipset needs to be as modern as possible in order to have the best chance so it can have enough power to run high-end titles. Next, a line of communication needs to be open between developers, an open invitation. This is the future of Android gaming, and we think our platform has a lot of potential, but your titles can make the difference. If you can get developers on board, the next step would be to market the shit out of it and take advantage of the strengths of the platform. If you're paying $60 to $80 for Switch 2 games, bruh, get your games here for 20 to 40 on this device. Times are tough and money talks. Let's pretend for a moment most of these hypothetical titles are ports of older games, let's say PS4 era. They can be sold at a lesser price than the latest and greatest games and ported more easily. What's also awesome about this and makes it a worthy investment for developers is the games won't just be playable for the hypothetical device. Theoretically, you could play a low quality version on your phone or the high quality version when smartphone chipsets catch up. Also, this would inspire smaller developers to work harder so they can compete with the high quality games. Finally, I think if this new platform took off, it would require Google to rethink the way the Play Store curates games, making it better for everyone. Anyway, I think this is all I have to say on the matter. As a fan of handhelds and portable gaming, I hope that someday the Android platform becomes as great as it could be, and as great as we had hoped prior to the launch of the Nintendo Switch. I think the only thing really holding it back is effort and passion, and hopefully my video helps inspire that passion. Have a good day.